Hi there, I'm Suzanne Mattaboni, and welcome everybody. This is Beating Your Media Fears and Creating PR That Works. So I'm going to start you on a slideshow here and share my screen so we can get going. And let's see. Okay, so you should be seeing our beginning slide here, and this is me. My debut novel, Once in a Lifetime, just came out this year, so yay, plug for that. And a little bit about me, because the first presentation I did, someone came up to me at the end and said, "Oh yeah, but who are you anyway?" So this is me. Number one, relative to this recording, I am a corporate PR director working with high-tech companies. I've been doing this for like 20 years. In addition to writing, I've been podcasting, I've been essaying, etc. So just a couple of things here regarding, I've had some good luck with awards and contests and such. And I've also been in a lot of anthologies, in addition to Once in a Lifetime, which is down here also. And notice these badges here for the different awards and such. We will get into that discussion later. Okay, so I kind of like to start this off. This is Andy Warhol, and he was really big on publicity, insisting that all of us would be, famous for 15 minutes. So, kind of time to grab your 15 minutes, and you may find that it's, something that kind of keeps rolling in your work and helps you out a lot. So let's see. As far as doing publicity, what I'm going to try and communicate here is that you can go ahead and do a lot of this on your own. You're a writer, you can handle all of this. And if you have, some info on the timeline and like how to research editors and such to send it to, you might be able to, get a little headlines out there, a little bit of headlines out there and let people know what's going on with you. So if you are publishing a book, what I've learned is that you should start your publicity at least 3 to 6 months before you launch. If you do have like a pre-order period, it'll help that. You should do it, early, even if you don't have a pre-order period. But so you can start off by writing a press release talking about your launch, and do that at least 3 months in advance. You can do it and send to local publications. You can also do it and send to germane publications that are, say, if your book is about a certain topic and there are groups that follow that topic, you can send to those groups. You can research and find out who to send those to, or associations that follow those that topic, etc. And you can kind of introduce yourself as an expert. There are PR agencies that you can use. These are a few that I looked into that are very, very big in the industry. Authority Titans, they're kind of a one-off where you can, pay 100 for placement here or 500 for a package of 4 placements, and they'll give you a whole list of they're not like the biggest publications on the planet, but they're somewhat secondary. And once you get these placements, you can make them work for you, as we'll get into. Say these first 3, Smith and Books Forward, etc., they're probably better if you're with a traditional publisher or even a smaller independent publisher. If you're self-publishing, it might be a little harder. Authority Titans might be better for that. Okay. So, when do you want to do a press release? You have to have a reason, or you should, theoretically, for editors who want to pick this up, they want to know why we're doing this now. So you can do that to announce your launch. You can do it whenever you've won something, an award, an honor, etc. That's why we're going to talk about contests. If you have an event, you're doing a signing, you're doing a launch party, etc. And as we said, you can research your local editors in your area and then kind of move out from there and go ahead with groups. You can also send to a wire service. That will give you a lot of headlines online that you can link to, which it's not that expensive if you do a state circuit. If you do a national one, it's going to be 3 times expensive. But you can do, say, a PA circuit for around $300 from some of these services. I know a lot of people that work with Access Wire. Cision has a good service. Globe News Wire, there's other names here because they keep getting bought, but I use them a lot. They're very good. If you get a state circuit, what I'm saying is that they will also send to like tens of thousands of online destinations, no matter what circuit you get. And that will give you headlines in publications all throughout North America that they are contracted with. And they will send you a report, so you have the links to that. Okay, so who are we sending this to? Let's try and figure that out. Okay, what you would do is go to the target publications that you'd love to get into and do a keyword search. Search for novel, for author, for book, etc. See who is writing about these things. Once you see a certain editor's name come up a couple of times, like Joe Klein has, 4 out of the 12 articles that came up when you search that paper for novel or author, then that's the guy that you send to. That's your target. In order to send to them, you can usually find an author page for people who write for the publications regularly. If you click on that, with any luck, there's a little envelope icon. And that sometimes if you click on that, that will give you the person's email address. If not, or if it's not spelled out, you might want to Google their last name at whatever publication it is and see if that comes up. A lot of times these days, there's a lot of freelancers working, people who work from home. So it's a little difficult to reach them compared to, the good old days when everybody was listed on the masthead. I would avoid, even if you find a phone number, I would avoid calling anybody, because these days with everyone working from their cell phone, it's looked at as very strange for you to to call. I am giving you a little tip here. Dave Howell has been very responsive from the Lehigh Valley Press if you're in this area. And these are the email addresses. His boss is Paul Williston. Please don't bombard them or anything. Please only contact them if you do have a press release you put together and news, and be very professional about it. But they have done features on various authors in this area. Okay, so moving on to awards. I love The Odd Couple, and this is what Tony Randall says. They sell tickets and they're clever and they're a publicity stunt. And that is true not just for shows and movies, it's also true for writing. So you see, here's one nice award that we have. It's like, yay. This is what you use the badges for. Okay, now in order to do this and find awards, you may want to go to the editorial calendars with your local papers. Look online and find where it says about us or advertise with us, and sometimes then you can find the link to the editorial calendar. Sometimes they will even have a tab at the top that says awards, and you can see what you can apply for, because they do want people to come and apply. Sometimes there is an application fee. A lot of this stuff does cost money. If anybody, feels that's unjustified, you're going to be disappointed with this presentation. But list all your accomplishments, all your local community involvement. Let's see. Usually, let's see. There's some of them where, as long as you apply, they will give you an award. I mean, this is not well known. I mean, some are a lot more discerning than others. But some regional publications, if you apply, they're looking for new people. So you will often get in. And then you can use that in your bio. You can say you're an award-winning writer, or, you have an award from your community for what have you. Let's see. And yeah, don't be shy about it. You have to learn to promote yourself, as weird as it feels. I'm a PR person and I do this for a living for tons of other people. And I still feel weird when I'm doing it for me. There it goes again. Sorry. Okay, and those badges, like you see here, yay. You can use them in your sign-off, maybe. I wouldn't do too many because the files are sometimes large, or put them on your site. That's always nice to show them off. Okay, now I found out a lot this year about reviews. Now it's kind of funny. I had a little graphic here, but it's not coming up. There it is. And yeah, see, if you do nothing, nobody says anything about you. So, you got to put your neck out there on the chopping block, and just bear with it. Because the thing is, okay, once you get a few reviews or clips of people writing about you, Even if it's paid for, like with Authority Titans, believe me, a lot of people, this is how a lot of people get press. They pay somebody to get it, or they pay, an agency that's going to write the article for them, or, so don't think that there's some detraction to it being paid. Everybody pays for this in one way or another. Once you do get some of these clips, once you publish your book, you can go on to the editorial review section and you can pull quotes from those reviews and those articles and put them on your Amazon book page. There are certain guidelines for what you can do. You have to be ethical about it. You can't change anything that they wrote. You have to use their exact words. But you can pull different little pieces, put ellipses between them, as long as they're in the same order and you're using the same words. They can, if they say something good at the beginning and good at the end, and even if they say something bad in the middle, you can use those two good things from the beginning and the end with the ellipse between them. And that's perfectly acceptable, journalism wise. So, it might look something like this: wonderful prose, ... The author knows how to make a metaphor work. Doesn't matter what the hell else they said. Sorry for my French. Doesn't matter what else they said in between those two things. It is acceptable for you to just use those pieces as long as you're notating that there was a break. If they really want to look up the whole thing and see what else they said, they can, as a reader or whoever. Okay. As far as a lot of people will tell you to get reviews on Goodreads, which you can try and do as well. Goodreads, there's no requirements. They don't have to have bought your book. They can be a advanced reading person. They can be your best friend. It doesn't matter. They can put up a review, and Goodreads is fine with it. Amazon is different. If they have algorithms that search, and if it's your friend, if it's your sister-in-law, you have the same name, etc. They see that you're friends on Facebook. They may scrub that review. And they will also note whether it's a verified purchase, whether it's somebody went out and bought it or someone who had it given to them for review purposes. You can use a service like NetGalley. I think, once again, this is paid. It's several $100s, I think like $400 or $500 to submit your manuscript to NetGalley. But that is going to definitely get you some reviews, or at least get a lot of people reading. I didn't get a ton of reviews from NetGalley, but probably would have much less if I didn't use them. There's other services that pay per click, so you can look those up. Here's a couple of the bigger services. Say Kirkus, you can submit to them, or the publisher can submit to them. It's free for the publisher to submit, but you're not guaranteed that they're going to actually use you. You could put, they could submit and nothing happens. If you pay for it yourself, they're guaranteed to review it, but you're not guaranteed a positive review. If they, they're kind of hard to crack. And if they don't like it, they're going to say, and they say something that you don't love, well, you spent money for that. They do give you the option. You don't have to make it public if they give you a review that you don't like. And it takes a certain amount of time also. Book Life is kind of a service that's under like Publisher Weekly's umbrella. So if you get a decent review from them, it may show up in a section of Publishers Weekly. It's more toward the back as opposed to the other reviews, but it's faster, it's guaranteed. Once again, it's not guaranteed. They don't guarantee that they're going to give you a positive review. It depends on the reviewer. So here's just, if you want to take down, these are some of the places that you can send to that the agency that I worked with had on their list. You'll have to kind of look them up and see who to send to. It changes frequently, so, be timely about it. All right, I'm going to go over this quickly. I've kind of included this, creating a web page, but these days, most people do have a web page. I see a ton of web pages out there. You can work with WordPress, you can work with Wix. I find Wix a lot more intuitive. And let's see, you're kind of on your own. You have to do tutorials and stuff. It's hard to get like customer service on these kind of things. You can pay somebody to do it, but then you have to consult that person if you want to make changes. So self-service, I think, is the way to go on this. But that's where you put all your clips for your reviews. That's where you can quote from those articles. That's where you put all the badges if you win this, that, and the other thing via awards and contests. Also, you can start up a blog, and then you have something that you can post as well on social media saying, here's my blog, etc. And that draws people to your page. So you can be a subject matter expert. Okay, so some of you might be wondering, how do we write this press release? Okay, for those, some of you might be journalists and and then you already know most of this stuff. But if you are not, the number one journalism rule is you want to put the most important details first because editors are busy and sometimes they don't read that much more. That's how that rule came about. So you want to put who, what, when, why, and where in the very beginning. That's called your lead. Now, most of you, if you're publishing something or if you're pitching something, have put together a query. So use that content from your query and make sure that those messages and that you've honed have get into this piece. You also want to close it up with a nice quote from you, from your publisher, from a subject matter expert, if you know someone who you trust to give you a quote. Whoever you're quoting, like in PR, a lot of times we will not make up, but create quotes for people based on what I know their opinion is, and then have them approve it. Whatever you write, just even if it's something that you pulled from somebody's presentation somewhere and they said it, you have to let them know. Just make sure everybody approves that they're in your piece. So, and just always, remember, you're a writer. You can do this. Just pretend that you're interviewing someone else, but do it about yourself. Or I'm going to give you specifics here and examples so you can run with this. All right. So here we go. You would start off just with a nice headline. This is based on a press release that I wrote for a friend of mine when her novel debuted. And I changed the names and such, but you'd start with a headline just saying, that your publisher or what have you is releasing, such and such, the debut novel or the next novel in a series, etc. If you are sending this piece to the local publications, then mention that you are, Easton based or Lehigh Valley based, etc. And get in some information about what the book is, what the genre is, so that people reading who have an interest in this genre or your area of expertise are going to see that and maybe, click on the headline if they're Googling something, etc. Then, no, we're going to stay here. We're going to start on the paragraph 1, which, as you can see, is this who, what, when, where. Easton resident Anne Markle announced that her debut novel, Directive, is being released today by women's fiction publisher Imperative Books. Then it goes on to say where you can get it, because you want people to run out and get it, and maybe a little bit about the publisher, and a line that describes the book. Once again, you can rely on some of your query materials. Paragraph 2. All right, so now you want to have a nice paragraph. Once again, we put together these summaries and synopses and such. Use that information. Directive tells the story of law student Ellen Devereaux, who struggles to hold on to her fiance, her grade point average, and her own sanity as she unknowingly struggles with bipolar disorder. So it talks a little bit about that. You can add more and go on and kind of flesh that out and talk a little bit more about the book, why it's important, why the subject matter is important, why you decided to write it, why this is your story. Remember, I'm saying but you're talking about yourself in the third person here. So remember to continue to do that, because that's, it's more professional, even if it does say your name on it in the contacts. Then once again, a quote it could be from yourself as the author. That's fine. If you have a publisher, once again, run it by them and say, I'm going to put this in my release. I'm going to send it on such a date. But here's where the author is talking about, this is why this is important. This is something that I struggled with. Here you can refer to yourself, this is my opinion. What else we got here? Okay. So now you're going to end with some bio information about yourself as the author. Include some things in there, if you can, that explain why you're writing this particular book and this topic. If you have background in that area. If not, it's okay, but include it if you can. Whatever your background is, your education, etc. You can put that in there. And lead them to your social media and such. This is good so people can find you and interact with you. Then if you are working with a publisher, they usually have this information. It's called a boilerplate or an about such and such. So ask them for it, or see what, find one of their press releases on their site, look for a news page or in the news or press releases, and use their information. Once again, clear it with them, please. Don't use anything about anybody else but you without clearing it. So these are, kind of the basics in a nutshell. You need the facts about your launch or whatever you're writing about, cities, dates, titles, genre, publisher, etc. The purpose, why did you write it? Talk about your platform, your vision, etc. And your quote. Okay, so then you add your boilerplate. So now I'm going to stop this share temporarily and share a different page so you can actually see what the press release looks like. So let's see, give me a second here to pull that up, which I have called fake press release. So hopefully you should be seeing this screen now. This is just a little logo I've been playing with because I think this is what I'm going to call my arm of my PR arm of my own company. So for immediate release, please use that because that tells journalists that they're allowed to run with it, as opposed to certain news items which are under embargo. So in that case, it would say under non-disclosure until X date. You can put your contact information first. You can put it at the bottom. There's your nice title. I like kind of subheads. They let you say a little bit more, but that's not necessary. If you don't want to put that, you don't have to. Here's your dateline. And then we've got our intro paragraph, who, what, when, and where. We've got the story here that talks a little bit more about what happens in the book and the narrative that you're trying to present. And as I said, if you wanted to, you can put in a couple of more paragraphs about your story. Then there's our quote. We talk about who you are, where you are. And where you are is important if you're sending to local publications, and they're more likely to pick you up than a larger publication. Let's see. If I had mentioned, if you do have credits that you want to talk about, you can talk about it there. And then if you're sending on behalf of your publisher and you have the about in there, you can put, about such and such books. I just made this up. If you are self-publishing, then maybe just put about and your name. And then this paragraph here where it says Ann Markle lives in blah, 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 that's your boilerplate. So that's it. You really only has to be a page and a half. If you want it to be a little longer, you can. I wouldn't go over more than like 3 pages because people probably won't, they won't read that much is the thing. Okay, so I'm going to try and jump back to the presentation here, okay, I think this one is the slideshow. It's a little hard to tell because I have several screens going, so bear with me. Well, that pretty much does it. This was supposed to kind of be a how-to. I have my contact information here. So if anybody did want to have a question, you'd like to send me an email, any suggestions, etc., you can try me here. I'm willing to share that press release if somebody wants to, direct mail me or email me on, etc. If you want to take a look at any of my websites, my information is here. My social media is here. And yeah, you can listen to some fun podcasts if you like. You might want to, just to see some of the results that I've gotten on this, if you Google my names, if you Google Suzanne Mattaboni or Suzanne Greco Mattaboni, you'll see a lot of articles come up. You'll see some of the corporate articles that, that are relative to my clientele, but moreover, you will see a lot of stuff about the novel and the launch, and and I have more to come. But I'm all over the place as a public relations director, so you can be too. So I hope everybody has gotten some nice information out of this. I wish everybody really good luck with their books, their novels, their memoirs, etc. And thanks very much for tuning in, let's say. And yeah, thanks. See you next time. Bye-bye.